we follow the story of a former serial killer who has turned his life around and become a cleaner in a small town. With suspenseful plot twists and powerful performances, this movie is sure to leave viewers on the edge of their seats. The movie started with Clean going about his business of cleaning garbage from the town. Throughout the night, after finishing his work, he regularly drives to a junk park, where he has developed a special bond with a stray dog. He never fails to bring along some food for his furry friend. The dog knows that there is at least one person who cares for him deeply. Then we see Frank in a counseling session where Clean has to go too. Through these sessions, Clean was able to work through his emotions and eventually let go of his difficult past and the struggles that had once held him back. He goes home after counseling to prepare a meal. The care and effort he puts into this is evident, as he crafts it with his own hands and fills it with an assortment of delicious treats. Despite his occupation as a cleaner, Clean possessed a proficiency for electronics. Later on, we witness a heartwarming scene of Clean and Diana, a bright young girl who resides in the same town as him. He takes it upon himself to prepare a scrumptious lunch box for her. That is the reason as to why she gave him a gratitude bracelet, as a sign of appreciation for all he was doing for her before she went on to school. From there, Clean proceeded to a local retail store to sell his restored electronics. Now we see Michael, who is happy to see Mikey, his son, return from the prison field. Mikey intentionally rejected his father even after seeing him and his men waiting for him outside. He refused to go with him and chose to go with his friends. Michael was hurt and disappointed by his son's decision, but he let it slide. Next day, Clean went to work as usual, but they had increased his coverage. While on his new route, he saw a restaurant across the street, and right at that moment Clean noticed one of the men across had a gun. Such incidences had him continuously remember his tragic past, and sometimes had him cry as he felt guilty for whatever happened. After work, that morning he met Diana again and she told him that the bus was no longer coming by her home, so she had no means of going to school. Clean offered to drop her to school that day. On their way, she saw the bracelet on his keys. She also asked him if he misses people, and why she never saw him with anyone, not even a girlfriend. Upon which Clean replied that, "I am not into that." We see Mikey coming back home as his friends dropped him off. His father Michael informs him that he is late for work, upon which Mikey complains about the smell of fish, but Michael says to him, that is the smell of success. While conducting business, Michael became aware that his partners were manipulating his goods during transportation, as Michael's men informed him that 5 pieces were missing. His son downplayed the incident as minor, but Michael reminded him of his grandfather's advice to never overlook small issues, which can escalate into serious problems. Clean arrived home, after dropping her to school, and proceeded to repair the bike Flame he had previously acquired, transforming it into a reliable mode of transportation for Diana's commute to school. Diana's grandmother engages in a dialogue with Clean. She reminisces about the bygone era when the town was tranquil and children could romp around on streets free of any disturbances. Subsequently, he proceeds to visit his friend Frank in a barber shop. They indulge in reminiscences about his daughter and past experiences. He recollects how he had gifted her a bicycle, which resulted in frequent injuries, followed by tending to her wounds himself. Now that she is gone, he misses her dearly. We witness Michael's men mixing drugs and labeling them success, before proceeding on to receive money from the local drug suppliers, as Mikey, his son, was in charge of counting money. On Sunday, Michael returning from church, he had to receive a delivery with the same Chinese suppliers. He was unhappy with the quality of the goods they sent him again. He decided to pay them anyway, but he also wanted to teach them a lesson. He took a hammer and smashed one of them in front of the others to death. He used that incident as a reminder to them never to cross him again. Later that day, while at work, Clean happened to notice something unusual on the fish boxes. It was blood. He was curious about what happened, but suddenly Michael showed up behind him, trying to make sure that the garbage collector keeps his mouth shut by paying him off. He rejected the money and his cigarette, as he never wanted to get involved with Michael the drug lord. The following morning, on his way back home, his car broke down, but as he tried to fix it, he suddenly witnessed a man being pursued by a group of goons. They brutally kicked him so badly, but Clean never wanted to interfere, as such violence reminded him of his past. As he was still in shock, he just watched from a distance, but the gangsters noticed him and one of them came from behind him. They hit him hard and left him unconscious while still in the coma. He remembered the day when his daughter saw him using drugs before waking up in the hospital with severe injuries. The doctor examined his whole body and told him he was lucky to be alive. Clean got a few days off, in order to recover. From there he decided to visit Diana's house only to check on them. He found Diana seated outside, alone and frightened. He invited Diana to his place for dinner and some company. She agreed and followed him. While at his home, after a delicious meal, Diana noticed a strange box in the corner. She was curious. She got up and tried to open it, but he saw her, and suddenly stepped on top of the box, which freaked her out. We see Michael and his son on the dining table. Michael wanted to talk to his son, but he was busy practicing rap music. His dad got mad at him. Instead, Mikey got angry and grabbed a knife to attack his father. Though he was unable to do anything to him, he ran away from the house to meet up with his friends. Clean's turning point day in life was the day he checked his safe only to realize that his drugs were gone. He rushed to his daughter's room only to find her lifeless body, as she had accessed his drugs and overdosed herself. This traumatic event continued to haunt him night and day as he struggled with feelings of guilt for causing the death of his own beloved daughter. That's why he had to seek help in counseling centers. On his way to the counseling center, Clean saw Diana hanging around with Mikey's friends. He asked her to go home, but she didn't want to listen to him as she was still angry. Instead, she said that he had no right to tell her what to do, yet she also didn't want to cause a fight among them, so she just decided to go home anyway. During the counseling session, one of the participants caught sight of Clean. Following the session's conclusion, he approached Clean and remarked that he had seen him before. However, Clean refuted this claim and insisted that it must have been a misunderstanding on his part. That evening, we see Clean tidying up one of the abandoned houses in town. His attention was caught by a sight which prompted him to investigate further. Upon entering the house, he discovered a red toolbox containing one adjustable appliance. On his way back home, Clean caught sight of Diana's bicycle propped against the exterior of a house belonging to Mikey's friends. Diana was inside trying to find her way out, but at that moment they tried to rape her. Clean came up to the door and was appalled to witness several members of said group viciously attacking her within the premises. Swiftly realizing the gravity of the situation at hand, he resolved to act with alacrity and extricate her from their clutches post-haste. A gang member told him they were closed. He said, "I am going to open you up." He fought all of them quickly to rescue Diana, even though he realized that Michael's son was among those that he had hurt so bad. He left with Diana without realizing that a phone camera was capturing everything that was going on. Now at Michael's home, after looking at the phone and his son, the doctor told him that he needed a quick surgery. Immediately Michael ordered the police officer not to interfere in that case, as he was going to handle it himself, and make sure that he kills Diana and grandmother. Also, Clean had realized that their lives were now in great danger, so he had to take them out of town. On their way, police pulled them over. Clean realized that the policeman was making a call instead of reaching out to their car, upon which Clean had to drive off and run for their life. Now that his car was well recognized, he had to stop by a parking yard in order to steal a car that could be able to help them escape. At the same time, Ethel wanted to ease herself for a moment, and she went with Diana inside the store. Michael had already known the direction where they had gone to. He ordered for a manhunt to the gangs over that side. Upon coming out of the store, they saw people in panic and running out of the store as the gangs invaded the store. Inside, Diana and Ethel saw the gang members with axes and had to run back inside, but they were unable to find a way out. After Clean getting another car, he realized that there was another car that seemed suspicious to him. After a closer look, he recognized there were gang members around. He went up to the car and finished off the gang member who was waiting in the car instantly before he could attack. Clean then rushed inside the mall with an axe he had got from the member outside. He battled each one of them and succeeded in rescuing Grandma and Diana. Afterwards, Clean transported them to a nearby motel. However, Grandmother held him responsible for all the predicaments they found themselves in at that moment. Clean promised to clean up the mess. After finding them a safe place, he went back to the town to ensure that he clean up the town just like the good old days. He returned to his residence and retrieved all of his funds, brought the money to Frank, his former military friend. Then Clean instructed Frank to deliver the money to Diana if he did not return. he went on to purchase firearms and ammunition from his friend's establishment, modified the firearms for optimal performance, crafted explosives using locally sourced material. Clean managed to acquire a detailed map of Michael's residence, which provided him with valuable insight into the layout and potential hiding spots. Furthermore, he cleverly used this information to warn Michael about the impending arrival of his nemesis, referred to as the Angel of Death, who was determined to expose all of his secrets and vulnerabilities. With this new information, Michael was able to take proactive measures in anticipation of the inevitable confrontation with the deadly Angel of Death. He called on all his men, thinking that Clean will have no way to him, heavily armed and prepared for his arrival of their nightmare. That day, after a warning call, Angel of Death drove his truck into Michael's house and detonated an explosive that caused a power outage. In total darkness, as Michael's men started shooting aimlessly, the angels started to eliminate one by one. Helpless they were, wishing to find a way out, but it was already too late. They were definitely no match for him. Clean effortlessly reached at the corrupt police officer, made him cry before taking him out with a smoke gun. He made his way towards Michael. Mikey's mother's directed Clean where her husband was hiding. They engaged in a close fight, however, just as he was about to finish off Mikey emerged from hiding, with a gun in his hand. Instead of shooting Clean as expected, Mikey ended up shooting at his own father Michael. Fortunately for Clean, Mikey ran out of bullets just as he attempted to take aim at him. In this way, Clean was saved from certain death thanks to Mikey's lack of ammunition. This marked the end of crime in town, after which, bliss was restored by Clean. After a few days, we witness a warming smile from Diana as she recognized Clean's truck approaching towards her, and we witness other kids playing once again in the town as before. The town was finally cleaned of its crime by Clean, the Angel of Death. Now thanks for watching. If you liked this recap, please support by leaving us a follow and hit the like button.